chance. Wiltord makes a run ahead of it. Bergkamp suddenly changed pace through the centre. It's Bergkamp! That's magnificent! The move, and then this, which left Dabby's ass totally stranded.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, and welcome back to a Bergkamp Wonderland, an Arsenal podcast.
Hey. Hello, everybody. It's I said to Craig, could you do your intro when we start the show? Because I think that would be a nice throwback. Because Craig is the man who invented the Gooner Talk, who invented the Same Old Arsenal, two of the most popular Arsenal podcasts of all time, and there is about 240 of them. So to have invented two of the best ones, that's quite an achievement indeed. How are you doing?
I'm very well, mate. Absolutely 100% groovy. Very good. How are you? It's a long time. It's been a long time. This is the first podcast I've done since I walked away from the Same Old Arsenal podcast. All those, I don't know, what was it, 2 years ago now?
Has it been that long?
Yeah.
We've kept in touch though.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we?
Well, good point. Yeah, I mean, you are a magician when it comes to podcasts, and I'm good at pressing buttons, so it's bound to work well. We got Jimmy H in the chat. We got Paul Neil, not Neil. Rudy Rastos is there. Jim Eves has popped in. Phil Macker is there. Nice to see you, Phil. Keysby Knight is there. Melvin Marks, the one and only friend of the stars. Another person who I enjoy podcasting with. Paul says, "Nice surprise, you two on the screen on my OG podfathers." Well, that's very nice for you to say. And Paul says, "Craig," with a big exclamation mark. Yes, it's good. Yeah, it's good to do podcasting. I have missed it. I haven't done one in a week, and I always think, oh God, it's coming up to podcast day, and then I think, oh, can I be bothered? And as soon as those titles disappear, I go, I've missed doing this. I do like it. So it's going to be, it should be good. Yes, and Craig said he's going to come and do some more of ABW if we want him. And I said, of course we want him. And so James Johnson said that last week as well, because you can see from underneath my name, it says, I fired all of ABW except for Carl. They're all fired. Maybe Femi is an exception to that, because Femi's very good as well. But I fired the lot of them. Chris is the host, not turned up done one show in 5 weeks. So their P45s are in the post. What else have we got here? Rudy says, evening all. Phil Macker says, OG grandfathers, surely, because there's no need for that, Phil. Behave yourself. Ron Ree is there. Good evening, all. Paul Nell says, howdy. He's saying hello to everybody. His device is not connected. He's got gremlins already. This is what drove Craig nuts with his wonky internet. Don't worry, he'll be back. Phil says, Chris and Josh should have been fired years ago. Well, you know. Do you like my Christmas tree? Look at that. It's a thing of beauty. I love it. Rudy says, Greg, you are my head. Greg? Who's fucking Greg? Oh, there's no Greg in here. Do you mean Craig? BX says, good evening, everybody. Right, here we go. It's back again.
I just moved my camera. My camera went on I don't know what is wrong with that camera, but I've had to change it. So if I'm slightly grainier now, sorry about that.
You look moody and mysterious.
Yes.
That's what the listeners want. Someone called you Greg while you were away, which was worrying.
Surprise.
BX is there and looking very festive, Danny. I am. And I'm having 3 kids like you do. I suppose other parts of your house do look festive, don't they? You're not in a prison cell or anything, or in a gulag.
No, absolutely not. This is about as good as it gets. The old, white paint on the wall. Nice and light, because I brought a brand new HD camera and it's not working.
And
of course,
shit the bed already.
Yes, everyone knows my luck when it comes to, I'm sure there's plenty of people on here that knows my luck when it comes to technology, and it's failed me again.
That's what it does. It lets you down. So, I've got a list of things here that I was thinking that we could talk about. Can we make sure we don't fuck up like last season? What was your thoughts on last season? Because no one's spoken to you. Doing a podcast from last season. So, what were your thoughts about last season? Because,
well, of course, look, we're very disappointed. We didn't get over the last hurdle, and we didn't win the league. Did I allow myself to believe that we could win it? No, because I knew that there was going to be disappointment at the end of it. Of course, I wanted to win it, Dan. It's a championship that's eluded us for a long, long time now, and we should be winning leagues. But look, you still got to take the positives out of last year. There's the huge positives. He got rid of all the troublemakers. There's a what's the word I'm looking for? There's a brand of football there now that I can see, you can see. There's many supporters who can see what he's trying to do. There's obviously still some out there that can't. He's brought in some good signings last year. That the signings that he brought in, they work well. And it was there for all to see. The top of the league for almost all of it, and failed at the last hurdle. But I was pleased. I was pleased with last season. I have to say, we've spoken over the last the many years we've known each other. It's always been down in the dumps talk about finishing out the top 4 or 8th, 6th, 7th. When we were going through the bad spell. So to see us back up there again on top, challenging for league titles, is a positive. Obviously, the big negative is that we didn't win it, and that we couldn't get it over the last hurdle. But here we are again this year with some additions, some new additions, and we find ourselves top of the league again. And I just find it strange to see some Arsenal fans who still want this manager sacked. I just do not understand it. In what dimension do you want this manager sacked? Top of the Champions League group. Sorry, first of all, gets us back into the Champions League. Finishes top of the Champions League group. Top of the league. People are still calling him to be sacked.
Do you think
I
that's
just don't understand it.
Their brand, or do you think they really mean it? Because a lot of people, I think most people we know that have made money out of this game have made it on the back of Arsenal being shit. And now they're not shit anymore. They don't like it.
That's a very good point. Now, I don't want to turn this chat into he said, she said, he says, she says. But I don't know. I think some of them do actually believe it. I think they do actually believe it. They think that I don't know. I was talking to someone in a bar actually a couple of weeks ago, and he's an Arsenal fan, and he was saying that football supporters now are a FIFA generation, where they think they can go in, they can go on FIFA or Football Manager. You can buy a player for 25 million, and you can do it in real life. You can, as long as you offer the right contract and the right money, they'll come. But people just some people just, I don't think they understand football at all, to be honest with you. And as you say, perhaps they are, faking it, in more than a better word. Because
Chelsea and Man City have come in and they've just gone. They are the epitome of the instant gratification society. I want it. I want it all now. Throw money at it. There you go. You've got it. Only 2 teams have ever done that. Thrown all the money. Maybe Blackburn to a certain extent, but what do they? Their entire squad probably cost them 15 million quid, and their highest paid player was probably on about 10 or 15 grand a week. But other than Blackburn doing it, Man City and Chelsea done it. And we've seen what an absolute mess Chelsea are in now. £1 billion spent, and they're still no better off than before they spent that billion. And that won't be a warning to others. I mean, you see Newcastle are going to start doing it. They're going to. I mean, they've got because the people who own them, they've got all the referees and the PGO in their pocket anyway. So they don't have to spend as much money on players when you've got all the referees and that lot helping you out. But we're from a generation where you got one player one year and you're better the next year. That year you bought another player, then you're better the next year. You do that 5 or 6 years, then you become a really great team. People don't want to wait for that. Like you were saying, It's FIFA. I want to buy it now. I want to win it. I want to buy the player on Monday. I want to win the championship on Tuesday.
Yeah, but I suppose there is an argument, Dan, that Arteta has spent a lot of money. He has. Let's not dodge that. Yeah, he needed to. But he has spent a lot of money. But he needed to. The way I look at it is, exactly like you've just said, he needed to spend that money to get us to a level again. From where we haven't got the Ozils or the Aubameyangs or, these players who are causing issues in dressing rooms or on pitches or whatever. We're getting away from the players, Socrates and Mustafi. Yeah, the money did need to be spent to get us to a level. So I do understand why that amount of money has been spent, but the money has been spent well, obviously, because of where we are right now.
It is. And another thing that people don't talk about, Arteta has spent a lot of money, but he hasn't gone out and bought a dozen 350, 400,000 £400,000 a week players. He's kept the wage bill sensible. Mm-hmm. And if you've been there for a while and you're a star player, your wages will go up. Unlike Chelsea, are going and giving players, £400,000 a week on 8-year contracts. I mean, how does anybody think that is going to, that's got any longevity in it? I mean, they've already seen that after £1 billion, they're still going in January, I want to load more players.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that Mudryk deal, I mean, he must be kicking himself right now. Wow. I bet he sits at home. I guarantee you that man sits at home wishing he was in this Arsenal team.
Yeah, the freedom he would have.
Yeah.
He'd be up and down. That'd be a backup for Martinelli and Saka.
And Saka, yeah.
Yeah, wonderful player.
Absolutely. Great player, but we'll go to waste, sadly, at Chelsea. I mean, if we're to believe what we read in the press, he wants out already, doesn't he? So... I mean,
well, touch of the Arshavins. As soon as Arshavin signed for Arsenal and he realised you got to pay tax, he wanted to go back home, didn't he?
Yeah,
because he was on less money after paying tax than he was when he was at St. Petersburg.
Right. Do excuse my dog if you can hear that barking.
Did he have anything interesting to say?
No, not really. No? He just barks at everything that goes past the house.
What's his thoughts on?
I mean everything.
What's his thoughts on Kai Havertz? Is he a waste of money? His thoughts
on Kai Havertz are that. Like me, the first few weeks of Havertz's Arsenal career, I was like, why have we signed this man? Why have we signed this man? £65 million.
Down the drain.
Down the drain. He doesn't bring anything to us, hasn't brought anything to us. And when you sign a player like Kai Havertz, you're trying to get your head around, well, he's played in the Premier League. He knows the Premier League. He knows Arsenal. He knows what we're about. He should just slide in the door and carry on doing what he was been doing. But obviously, it's not like that. He's had to come into a new club, a new culture, new teammates, a new way of training, a new way of playing, a new way of eating. Things like that. But finally, he is starting to really show his worth and what a good player he is. Massive upgrade on Granit Xhaka. And I was a massive Granit Xhaka lover.
Yeah, me.
He is yes, absolutely, still am. But huge upgrade on Granit Xhaka. And hopefully, he only gets better, Dan. He keeps working hard, and he scored some important goals for us the last few weeks. The equaliser at Luton. The goal yesterday was very important, a very important goal. I'm sitting here watching it on the telly. The old twitchy bum time starts to come in when I'm looking it up, and it's 85th minute, and we're still 1-0 up. And so an important goal. He scored some important goals, and he's he operates quietly. He operates quietly. If you watch the game, the commentator hardly ever says his name, but you can see what he's doing, and you can see that he's got ability, and you can see that Arteta loves him, and you can see why Arteta's brought him in.
Just taking for a while for him to come through and show what he's going to do. But we've seen that when Ødegaard gets the ball, he likes to go forward because Jesus is all over the place. He'd got no idea. I mean, yesterday I was watching it, and he was deeper than Rice at some points during the game. And at times like that, that's when Ødegaard will get the ball and go forward. But Ødegaard isn't as clinical as Havertz can be. And now we're starting to see that Havertz is going to be the one that is coming through and getting those little balls and nipping them in, kind of a fox in the box, decent in the air. And because when he played for Leverkusen, he was on the right wing. And in 1 goal a season, he got like 17 goals and 11 assists in 1 season.
Yeah.
And you can see it. And I think the fact that the crowd haven't turned on him, some were starting to do it, but the song and the crowd are with him, and they were cheering when he got the penalty and he scored his first goal. And the crowd have shown him that they believe in him and they believe in Arteta and they trust the process. And I said at the first, he was rubbish. I said, I didn't want him at the club. I think we've overpaid for him, but I trust Arteta. That he knows what he's doing, and it turns out again he was right.
He was right. I'm the same as you. First 2 weeks, I don't mind admitting it. I took to Twitter. People follow me on Twitter would have seen it. But I was like, who is this? Who is this? What on earth did Arteta think he was doing signing this man for £65 million? Which in today's market, £65 million, I think it's quite cheap.
Bargain. If someone who's got that many goals, there's if people are wondering why the ABW Twitter is so good, there was one yesterday got I think 47,000 interactions. It's Carl. Carl's doing all of it. Carl is a genius on the Twitter, and some of the stuff he's putting up, and one of them was a picture of Kai Havertz with I think 3 Premier League goals and a whole load of Man United players, and it says 0 goals or something like that. Carl is absolutely ruining them all on Twitter, and they love it, and he loves it, and he's doing really well at it, and it's great to see. But he is. I mean, he's scoring goals from left back for Germany. Yeah. And I think no matter where you put him, he's going to even have a half decent game, and it's showing that he's coming through and scoring the goals. And Arteta played him quite a lot. He didn't really do it. Then he dropped him. And then he started playing Trossard there, and then he brought him back in again, and there he's doing the business. He's sweeping up the mistakes. But yesterday's game, are you worried about how wasteful we are? I think we had something like 27 shots.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
Well, that was probably why we didn't win the league last year. You go back to all those games where the games we should have won, that we didn't win. Stupid equalisers, stupid goals we conceded. Chances missed, that and the other. That is my only fear for the rest of the season, is that we will not finish teams off. I've always watched that lot up the road the other night against Newcastle. 4-0, put them to the sword. Do I can only hope that Arsenal start doing that to those kind of teams. Do that's what you want to see. And Phil says it there. Phil Macker down the bottom there says we're all crying out for the player or players to be clinical, and that's what you want. Like the Aston Villa game, all over them, absolutely all over them. People are trying to tell me that Aston Villa were better than us that night, that we deserved to lose this, that, and the other. Absolute rubbish. They were lucky. They were, but we only had ourselves to blame. Martin Odegaard, absolute. To miss those 2 chances he missed as a professional footballer, it's unforgivable. But then on another day, he puts them in the bottom corner, like we've actually seen him do. You're going to get those nights in football where it's not going to go for you. You can't buy a bounce. Everything you hit goes wide. Everything you hit comes off your foot wrong. We're going to get those nights, and unfortunately, we had one of those nights up at Villa Park there a couple of weeks ago. Hopefully, that will be our only one that we get, one of those nights. But look, it's going to be it's all on them, and it's all on the manager. But at the moment, I'm very happy with what I'm seeing. I thought defensively on Sunday, probably one of the best defensive performances of this team, I think. A couple of years ago, there's no way we would have kept that 1-0 a couple of years ago. Not a chance. But I feel confident now. Gabriel, Saliba, not too sure about Zinchenko, Dan. I still don't know. I still don't.
Nuts.
Yeah, I still don't agree with this inverted winger thing. I'm a traditionalist. If he's left back, he's left back. Leave him there. Don't be coming up the pitch, gallivanting up the pitch into the middle of midfield and leaving that big gaping hole. I thought Ben White done well, but he's starting to worry me now. A couple of times there, they got round him on the outside, which worries me a little bit. Not saying he's a bad player. I like Ben White. He's a fantastic defender, but he's starting to worry me a little bit. The goalkeeping situation.
Being a goalkeeper, a part of the goalkeepers union.
Very strange. It's a very strange situation.
Is it a situation that he's unnecessarily created?
Yes, absolutely 100% correct. What did Aaron Ramsdale do so wrong that he got dropped? Now, did he let the ball through his
letting
legs?
in early goals? I think there was that thing, wasn't there, where Arsenal would let in 3 goals in the first 5 minutes of a game, and he was in goal for all of them. And I think he admitted his inability to concentrate until about 20 minutes into the game.
Well, that didn't do him any favours, did it? That part. I mean,
No.
to come out and say that, I can't believe he came out and said that. But that's not going to do him any favours. But as a goalkeeper,
I love him.
I do too.
He's one of us.
Absolutely, he's a fantastic goalkeeper, and I think Arteta was very harsh on him to drop him, and to bring in David Raya, who, in my opinion, and I'll debate it, is not much better than Aaron, if at all better than Aaron Ramsdale, in my opinion. It's a strange one.
It was plus Ramsdale being such a young man. I mean, he's 24, 25 years old, and he's come to Arsenal, come to be number one. And then he is number one, voted the Premier League by his fellow professionals, voted Premier League goalkeeper of the season. And then we get a new Brentford goalkeeping coach in, and then they bring in the player that was rumoured that Arteta wanted when he first came to Arsenal, who were after Raya from Brentford, and it never really happened. But we didn't need to spend that money on him. I understand the fact that you need a decent backup goalkeeper, and Karl Hein, the young man, been at the club a long time, he's not a backup goalkeeper. What the ideal solution would have been, go and get someone who's 32, 35, 36 years old, who could have been the backup goalkeeper, who will come in and play cup games. But then just to drop him like that, and you can tell he's a sensitive soul. And he loves the chanting. It reminds me of Seaman, where they used to go, oh, and Seaman would jump up in the air. Then sometimes they do it, and he wouldn't jump up in the air. He'd have a little play around with the crowd.
Yeah.
And we loved that. But yeah, doing that to someone at that age, he's just the week before he'd started the game for England. He's looking forward to the summer of possibly being England's number one, because Everton at the time were rubbish, and it didn't need to do it.
No, I don't think he even. I think that, a lot of people who know me and have followed the same old Arsenal podcast, they'll know that I've been a staunch Arteta supporter. That was a mistake by him, I believe, in my opinion. Like you said there, everything you said there is absolutely true. I think he finally found a club that that loved him, and you could tell that he was one of us. All the messing about that he does this, that, and the other, having a laugh with the crowd. I don't mind seeing that at all. I know there's other people there who will say, "Oh no, you can't be doing that, this, that, and the other." But I'd be sorry to see him go. I will be sorry to see him go. He'll regret it. I think he will regret it. I wouldn't want to see him do a Martinez. I wouldn't want to see him just say, "Right, I'm not going to stay and fight for my place. I'm just going to go," like Martinez did. Didn't want to stay, didn't want to try and fight for his place, and just left and went for first team, goes for first team football. I understand that goalkeepers want to play first team football, but the goalkeeper, when you go training as a goalkeeper, any two goalkeepers that tell you that they're mates while they're training are lying to you. Absolutely lying.
Pair of assassins who each want the other one to fail.
Absolutely. But once training's over, you're best friends again. Or people are saying, someone put a video up on Twitter of when David Raya made those mistakes against Luton, which was edited.
Yeah,
the video was edited.
They showed that. They showed the timestamps after with Ramsdale smiling. That wasn't right after he conceded the goal. That was some time after. It
was about 10 minutes after, Dan. It was about 10 minutes after.
Just the media being arseholes like they are.
Absolutely. But goalkeepers, when you're in the same team and it's match day, you're all about each other. If we were the two goalkeepers and you got picked, I'm fully 100% behind the decision, and I'm fully 100% behind you. But at training, it's different. It's different. You're both trying to get that jersey. You're both trying to work hard. You're both trying to, pull off the saves, do everything right. You're not fumble a ball. This kind of thing. But I think at the moment, for me, that was a big boo-boo by Arteta.
And at what point does Arteta drop Raya? Because he has made some clangers, hasn't he?
I was very surprised not to see him dropped after Luton. Very, very surprised.
I mean, to let in 3 goals for Luton in what was a shambol. I think WhoScored.com said he's the first player, the lowest rating player they've given all season for that game.
The first one, he couldn't really do too much about. My question is, why weren't there no defenders on the post? That was my first question when I saw the replay. The second one was diabolical, absolutely diabolical as a goalkeeper to miss a catch like that. And then the third one, well, to let a ball go under your body like that is that's goalkeeping. That's a goalkeeping nightmare. That's as bad as being beaten at your near post. That is as bad as being beaten at your near post.
Like Boy 10 here says, quite frankly, there's little difference between Raya and Ramsdale in terms of shot stopping. Raya is more willing to play with his feet. If feet is the reason he is in. We saw that when Ramsdale first joined the club. Leno couldn't cope, or Cech couldn't cope, and Leno couldn't cope. We're trying to remember when Cech was trying to play the ball out from the back when Emery took over.
And he nearly put it in his own goal. Remember that?
Yeah, didn't know what to do. And then Leno kind of got it, but then Leno was struggling to do it. And then plus when Ramsdale first came in, he was doing those long balls down the field to an on-running Saka or Martinelli, but that didn't last very long and he'd stopped doing those. But so he can do it, but it's just annoying that there was so much press attention about our goalkeepers rather than yet again Arsenal are top of the league. We're scoring goals. We've got a magnificent defence. Tomiyasu is an absolute star. Could be able to play left back, centre back, right back. When he could do it during games, he moves from one position to another, and it is no problem. But yet again, he's out with another calf injury. So
just going back to the goalkeeping thing. I don't think Ramsdale helped himself by saying what he said. About concentrating, but then I also don't think that his dad helped him either.
I've spoken about that. I said that was very, very silly, very ill-advised. How many Premier League players have had their parents go and talk to the media about? Oh, I'm not very happy about this. No, one, Ainsley Maitland-Niles' mum did it. Apparently, rang up Arteta once, and that's it. And when that went, people were laughing at him for years about that. Yeah,
I don't think. Nothing against the channel that he went on, but
they got
him personally should have really thought that through a bit more.
I
think going online and sort of saying, oh, my boy's teacher, that's what it came across to me, like a bit like my boy's teacher doesn't like him and I'm going to move schools and this kind of thing. That's how it came across to me. He didn't help him at all, really.
I don't think he'll ever do anything like that again, which is probably for the best. And hopefully no other one will do, because Arteta doesn't like people who don't fall in line.
Yes.
It's his way or you're out. Like Aubameyang and so many other players have found out. You don't muck around.
No.
Talking about not mucking around, we've been heavily linked regularly to the lad at Brentford, the striker, whose name I've forgotten. One who's banned.
Dominic Solanke.
No.
Oh, sorry, Ivan Toney.
That's it. I don't know why I'm completely reading about it today. He's someone who doesn't seem to toe the party line. He seems to be a bit of a rebel, Aubameyang-ish.
Yes.
Thoughts on whether he would do any good at Arsenal? Because Eddie Nketiah is not the answer to any question unless you're playing Sheffield United in the League Cup.
Yes. I am not too sure if I want Ivan Toney at Arsenal, Dan.
No.
Especially because you took the words right out of my mouth. He looks, he's first of all, he's already been done, for gambling and stuff like that. Now, okay, what he does in his private life is what he does in his private life. That's fine. But now it's out in the public. Now it's out in the media. Everyone knows that he did it, but that that sends alarm. That's alarm bells for me. That's alarm bells. Now he might come in. I believe they're talking about bringing him in on loan first. I think, and then having an option to buy. Could we bring him in on loan to see if he fits the bill, and if he doesn't, then we've got the opportunity to send him back. I'm not too sure about him. Is he an upgrade on Eddie Nketiah? Yes, he is. Huge upgrade on Eddie Nketiah. Is he an upgrade on Gabriel Jesus? No, not for me.
Depends where you want to play him.
Yes, true. Very true.
You're not going to get Ivan Toney playing sweeper, defender, midfielder, wide attacker in one game, are you?
No, exactly not.
He's going to be a greedy bastard who's going to want to stay up front the entire game and bang himself some goals. But someone said he's a 20-goal-a-season striker, but 6 of them were penalties last season.
Yeah.
I didn't think about that.
I don't know. I might surprise a few people in opinion, but I do like that lad at Bournemouth. I do like him.
Oh, Solanke, like you just said. Ex-Liverpool.
Yeah, I do like him. I do like big, tall, lanky, pain in the arse centre forward, and we've always since. I've been of a Giroud. I've had a bit of Giroud hatred every now and then, but he was our big pain in the arse centre forward. Like, do you know what I mean? And he was a pain.
Yeah.
He was a pain, and I do like a traditional little and large partnership up front. No, Arteta doesn't really play that formation very often, but Toney, Solanke, I don't know. I don't know. I do agree there with Maka. Solanke's not the answer. We need prolific, but he might be.
Looking at his stats here, this season he's got 8 in 16. Last season, he got 6 in 33. The season before that in the Championship, 29 in 46 and 15 in 40 in the Championship before that. So, I mean, 8 in 16.
It's not great, is it?
That's half a season.
Yeah, well, that's half a season, yeah.
Yeah, you can't judge a player and go, we're going to pay, because they're not going to let him go for 20, 30 million. They're going to be going, 70, 80 million or something like that.
Of course. And there's England tax, is there?
Yeah, he's got one England cap.
Yeah, there you go. There's England tax on that then.
6'2", 26 years old, from Reading. Ex-Chelsea player. Oh, well, there you go. We've got enough of them at the club. So,
if the price is right, bring in Toney. If the price is right, bring in Solanke. If the price is right, bring in whoever it is Mikel Arteta wants. Who am I to tell Mikel Arteta that the players he's bringing in are wrong?
Well, it hasn't stopped 99% of Twitter, has it?
No, very true.
No. Talking about buying players, there was you can get those petitions at the government website where if you get 100,000 people signing it, then they have to discuss it in Parliament. Someone's getting one saying that we should give West Ham more money because we got a bargain at Declan Rice. And what's your thoughts on him coming in? And did you think he would do as well as he's doing so quickly?
No, absolutely not. I thought he would take. I thought it was going to take him a while before we saw the best of him, but. I know I don't like to sound like I'm an ITK or whatever, but I do have a buddy in England who gives me a little bit of information, and he told me that Declan Rice was signing for Arsenal months before he signed. He said it was the worst kept secret in the Premier League. He said everyone knew that Declan Rice was going to Arsenal. Everyone knew at West Ham that he was going this, that, and the other. But I'm always sceptical when you get text messages, to say, "Oh, this fella's coming, that fella's coming," but he has got quite a good percentage of the players that he's let me know. But Declan Rice, I can't believe Declan Rice plays for Arsenal. He is the Rolls Royce midfielder we have been screaming out for God, 10 years?
Yeah.
I saw a tweet the other day from Mr. Wayne, who used to be on the Gooner Talk there. He used to be on the Gooner Talk a lot with me, and he put out a tweet to say, "We finally found Patrick Vieira's replacement."
Wasn't that? Did he say the Vieira Petit replacement? Was that somebody else who did that?
I think that was somebody else. Yeah, I think somebody else said that, or it might have been him. I might have read it wrong. But the Vieira replacement, I think I can agree with that.
But I mean, the ability to be in that position and get forward and score goals is almost. No one does that.
Nah, he's Rolls Royce. When you look back at Declan Rice, the disappointment he's had throughout his career, being released and not given chances here, there, and everywhere. Then he finally finds himself at West Ham. West Ham give him a chance, and he grabs it with both hands. Now all of a sudden, he is, in my opinion, the best defensive midfielder player in the league.
Working
without a shadow of a doubt. Without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, but it's not just the only position he plays, though, is it? His versatility is what amazes me.
Exactly.
And he's been here 5 minutes.
As Bulgarian Gooners says there again, taking the words right out of my mouth, his ball winning ability, the way he just wins the way he just glides in and takes it off people, and the way he accelerates out with it after he's won it is so impressive to watch. And I go back to saying that I can't believe we have a player of that caliber in an Arsenal shirt playing Rolls Royce. It's the only description I can give of him. Rolls Royce. He's still young. Gonna be Arsenal captain. Without a doubt. He will be captain of that team. Whether it happens quickly, whether it happens, I don't know. Arteta's got. That's another thing he needs to think about. I don't think Odegaard is the right choice as captain. I think someone like Declan Rice would fit the role better.
But you just look at our squad of players: Ramsdale 25, Raya 28, Saliba is 22, Ben White 26, Gabriel 25. Julian Timber, we haven't even spoken about him. What a player he looks, 22. Kivior, well, the board is out on him at the moment. That's not even a phrase. Tommy Ashu's 25. Who else is in there? Odegaard is 25. Smith Rowe, 23. Who else is going to be included here? Kai Havertz, 24. Declan Rice, 24. Saka, 22. Martinelli, 22. You just look at those players. Most teams in the Premier League would be lucky if they had 1, 2, maybe 3 of those players. And we've seen that Man City are starting to falter. Things are catching them up. They're not getting the rub of the green that they always used to get. And here we are steaming through, just like we were last season. And we're top of the league again.
I'll say this. I'll say this, and I've said it to many people who say, trust the process. Where's the process? You've just read it out. Read it out. That was the process. A young, talented squad with players all over the pitch, players that can play in different positions when called upon. That is the process. When does the process end? It never ends. It never ends. It's never going to end for Mikel Arteta. Arteta is going to want to win things, and to win things, he's going to have to keep coming up with. He's going to have to be looking at the right players at the right time. Playing the right tactics at the right time, playing people in the positions at the right time. That is the process. People who sit and tell me that there's no process, this, that, and the other, I just go. They either have no understanding of football, or are just doing it to wind me up. Probably the latter.
Probably,
yeah. Because but you can't. What Mikel Arteta has done, when people say, let's go back to day one when he joined Arsenal. The difference surrounding the club now, in the stands, on the pitch, team, coaching staff, It's just a completely different club, Dan.
And he's
it's
done
just
that
a
in 3 years.
completely different club. And he's done that in 3 years.
And it's only going to get better because when you've got a player like Saka, I just had a little butterfly when I said his name. When you've got someone like Saka in your side, who's been a little bit quiet the last few games, but he's still evolving as a player. He said recently, after a game, he goes home and he watches the game over and over to look at himself playing and going, how can I get out of that situation? Like a chess grandmaster might do.
Yeah.
I mean, to have a player, most players of his age, 22, they're off huffing helium and out in their Lamborghini, crashing it into the lampposts and stuff like that, or getting thousands of tattoos, or trying to get themselves some OnlyFans bird pregnant and then move on to the next one. He's analysing his game at 22.
Yeah. But that's the difference. That's the difference. That is now the difference. Look at Aubameyang when he was at Arsenal. Videos of him on social media, like you just said, driving Lamborghinis and not interested. Supposed to, come on, man, you're supposed to be captain of Arsenal, yeah. That's not a player that I want to see. But like you say, Saka going home at 22 years of age, watching himself playing and thinking, oh, I should have done that differently, or I could have done that differently. I'll bring that into my game next game. Unbelievable mentality. And you know who's made that mentality? Mikel Arteta.
Mr. Arteta.
It's just everything comes back to him. And that's why I've always defended him. I could see from the first day when he came into this club. Do you remember, I'm not sure, was it the documentary? I don't think it was a documentary.
I've still not watched the last episode of that. I can't.
I haven't watched any of it.
Some of it's good.
I still haven't watched any of it.
It's a lot of pain.
Yeah, because I'm not interested. This is going to sound absolutely ridiculous. I'm not interested to be a fly on the wall and see what happens when they're at training. Not interested. I'm interested in watching them when they're on the pitch.
Yeah,
that's what I'm into. But the first, there was a video. It might have been on Arsenal.com or YouTube, and Per Mertesacker sitting at a computer, and he's doing something, and he's watching. I think he's watching someone on camera, people training. And Arteta says to him, "Have we got any drones?" You can see Per Mertesacker say, "What? Drones?" And he's like, "Yeah, have we got any drones?" He's like, No. Well, yeah, get some drones. We'll get them up, yeah? And he taps him on the back. And I was like, yes. This is the fella I want in charge. Do you know what I mean? That just that simple little thing there. I was like, this is the man. This is the sort of
thing Wenger would do when he said, right, this is what you're eating. This is what you're drinking. These are the medications you're taking. This is what you're going to do. And reinvented football. Not that Arteta... Football is almost perfect with how it is at the moment. It's almost at its peak of how it's ever going to be. And for Arteta to winkle something else out, whether he saw somebody else do it or it's his idea, the fact that he's implemented it, I had no idea about that. That's genius. Watch them from above.
Yep.
See what they're doing.
Yep. This is Jimmy H32 says, yeah, it's on YouTube. It was his first video when he was announced. So go and have a look at it.
Wow.
Yeah, that is when I said, this man is going to change this club.
The legendary James Johnson was on last week and will be on again soon because he's a wonderful talker and a lovely man. We had to chat. We spoke to about half hour after the show, just sitting there moaning about stuff. He says,
"I've never spoken. I think I've never spoken to James one-on-one on Twitter on the Twitter bot. I have, but."
Well, after Christmas, I'll get you both on the same show.
Yeah, we'll have to sit down and have a good old chat.
That'll be lovely. James says Saka's only vice apparently is he's partial to a Twix. Apparently, he don't do the drink or the birds or at all. Top lad. I say let him have a Twix and keep performing as well as he does.
100% agreed. Who is going to not let Saka have a Twix after a game?
Ryan from the Mr. Arsenal podcast, another brilliant bloke and brilliant podcast who covers women's football and does it really well. Lovely person, Ryan. Ryan says, I would also say part of the process is bringing in football and Arsenal people back into the club in some capacity, be it Per, Edu, O'Leary, etc. Back when we first started doing ABW, Lord Hillwood, bless him, and Dave Goonaholic, people like that, and Raj and FK and me and Gav and Jeff Arsenal, we all said what we want is Gooners back at the club. We don't have any. Liam Brady had just left. Bob Wilson didn't do any more. David Seaman didn't do any more goalkeeping training. There was hardly anybody at the club, or maybe no one at the club. And then what's happened? I don't know who made the decisions, but we have got people scattered all through the club, like Ryan was saying, whether it's Per Mertesacker, whether it's Edu, whether it's Dad. I didn't know David O'Leary was there, or whether it's Jack Wilshere. With the under-18s. Yeah. And there's a young striker who was at Arsenal, and he ended up playing non-league, and he got injured, and they brought him back into the club. I can't remember his name. I think we used to follow each other on Twitter. And they got Dave Hillier, Arsenal legend, and anyone who says he isn't, you're wrong. Magnificent player. He does the commentary. Ian Selly, another great Arsenal player, part of the George Graham days, and wouldn't have won all he won without having players like those two in there. He does the commentary back at the club as well. They're both getting involved. Ian Selly said he went to he tweeted and said, I went to the club shop to buy some stuff. And he said, do I get my staff discount? And they said, who are you? He said, do you have a staff discount? Do you have an ID badge? He said, no. He said, I had to go on the internet and show him a picture of myself playing for Arsenal.
I saw that,
Ian Selly, magnificent. And for him to put that up himself, to not be too hard, not to be too up his own arse like some players would be, and kick off. Just go, hold on a second, here you go. I won a league title, I won the Cup Winners' Cup, I won the League Cup, I probably won the FA Cup. But I'm not going to make a fuss about it. I'm going to show you who I am. Wonderful.
With the rumours that Santi Cazorla is on his way back.
How good would that be?
Do you
as
know,
a coach or as a player, or I don't think.
Do you know what I would love it. And people are going to say, "Oh, Craig,
last game of the season,
sentimental old bastard." He never got a send off.
No,
and there's going to be people out there who are going to say, "Oh, Craig, we've gone from all that now. We've got no room for sentimentality anymore."
But he was never a problem.
Never, and one of the best players I've seen on the Emirates pitch. What a player! What a player! His technical ability, his vision. His pace, his balance. Oh, what a player. Sign him on a free. Last game of the season. 10 minutes to go. Bring him on. Give him his send-off. Then bring him into the coaching staff. And then, of course, rumours are rife that, of course, namesake of the podcast, Arteta is trying to get Bergkamp to come back to Arsenal.
He's going bald, isn't he?
He is. Don't look right, does it?
That cuts me deep.
A bit like me.
Well, there he is. There's the good man himself. Look at that. You beautiful bastard.
Oh, what a beautiful man. Look at that jawline.
Absolutely magnificent.
Why am I getting, if he dies off that picture? I don't know.
But then we've also got this one to balance it out. The Jenkinson, Corporal Jenkinson, the high priest of banter. Yeah, wonderful stuff. What else should we talk about? I've got this little thing here. I need to get rid of Drago saying this will be Cedric in 30 years' time. Melvin has said, I was on your pod, Craig, a few years ago talking about if we should get an Arsenal hero back as a manager when Wenger left. Melvin, another person I can get you to come on with Craig.
Absolutely.
And have a chat. That'd be good. Some of the people that are proper podcasters who ran out there just shouting and screaming.
Great speaker. Great speaker is Melvin. Great speaker.
He's a very nice
indeed.
Man. Yes, but always very, very well groomed. I've noticed. Ryan says that David Seaman is back part-time working with the goalies. Come on, lads, pick up the ball.
Yeah.
I'm going to go fishing. Get on with it.
Get ball out net.
I've got another question there from. No, that's not a question, is it? Yes, this little thing I've got here. It's my own invention from using Google database thingy-a-log-boggy. See, now I've got too many windows open. I need to go and get rid of this one. This one here, gone. This is Premier League only, and this is our run of games. And now, if we look at the top right-hand corner, you can see win percentage this season is 70.59.
Blimey.
And that is, last season, it was 68.42. Goals per game, 2.06. Last season was 2.32. But then you look at goals conceded per game. This season, 0.88. Last season, 1.13. Wow. And points per game, 2.29 compared to 2.21 last season. I mean, that gives you hope.
So looking at this, Dan, we're on course to win the league.
I think some people in the chat have been saying it's going to. One of the big games is going to be Liverpool because they're one of the ones fighting with us. And that was one of the questions I was going to ask you. Come the end of April, beginning of May, who do you think is going to be the 3 teams up there fighting for the title? Because I don't think it's going to be Villa, is it? As much as I'd like it, good luck to Villa, good luck to Emery.
Yeah, look, Aston Villa, just on that subject, Aston Villa, goodness me, what a job Emery is doing there. And people are saying, we should have kept him, this, that, and the other. You've got to understand that managing Arsenal and managing Aston Villa is 2 completely different things. 2 completely different things. He's coming into Arsenal where the fans are expectant straight away. He's coming after Arsene Wenger. The fans are all of a sudden thinking this man is going to win us the league, this man's going to win us the Europa League, this, that, and the other. The pressure he was under from day one was monumental. Monumental. Go up to Aston Villa with a good managerial record. Okay, he's managed in the Premier League. He's won Europa Leagues. Okay, we'll give this fella a chance. No pressure on Emery at Aston Villa, in my opinion. There would have been no pressure. The fans would have said, yep, up you come. Let's see what this fella can do after being, having anyone other than Steven Gerrard at the helm. Villa fans must have been delighted. And Villa fans must be delighted with him. And we're now seeing what he can do when he hasn't got that huge pressure on him of managing, a big club. Aston Villa are a huge club, don't get me wrong. But I think what I'm trying to say is the pressure at the time on Emery to come in after Arsene Wenger, the pressure was at boiling point on him straight away. So I would, to those people who say we should have kept Emery, that's what I'd say to that. Who could I see the top 3?
Yeah. Or maybe
Arsenal,
even top 2.
Arsenal, Liverpool, Manchester City.
Yeah, me too. You'd be mad if you think it's going to be anything other than those 3, wouldn't you?
But look, it's a funny old game. In the words of the great Jimmy Greaves, it's a funny old game. It's a funny old game. You just do not know. Look at Leicester. Who would have said that Leicester was going to win the league that year?
And now look at them.
Do you know? And now look at them. Exactly.
It is strange. But you're right with that. The 3 biggest teams in Premier League history, in the recent history of the last 40 or 50 years, Liverpool, you had Shankly, Paisley, Fagan, Dalglish, and then when those legends stopped, you had Graham Souness. And Graham Souness was manager for 157 games. He was manager for 3 years, and that was never going to work. I think he won 1 FA Cup, and that's it. And then Man United, all the stuff that Ferguson did. Then Moyes came in, failed because you can't come in and replace a legend. With Emery replacing Wenger, it's never going to work. You can't. It's impossible. You can't come in and replace perfection.
Destined to failure, Dan.
Poor bloke.
Destined to failure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's quite sad. Someone made a good point up here. Here we go. As usual, James says, I went with Melvin, who's in the chat, to an Invincibles Legends evening with Ray Parler, Lauren and Gilberto. Parler said this current lot are the first in ages to actively ask ex-players for advice, etc. That doesn't surprise me at all.
No.
Gavin
and
Smith
why wouldn't you be asking those
players
players?
For your autograph?
Exactly. Why wouldn't you be asking those players? Yeah.
Yeah. So Rudy's saying if we win at Anfield, we will win the league. Well, no, a little bit early for that. Drago says Emery had chaos above him, but also chaos on the pitch. Good coaching, bad timing. I only went to one game when he was manager. We beat Villa 3-2. It was September, just before the world went a little bit crazy. And you look at his history as a manager. Wherever he's gone, apart from when he went to Russia, he's had success.
Yep.
When he's won European trophies.
Yep.
And he
he won the Europa League 3 times on the trot.
Yeah, with Sevilla.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then he went back to Villarreal. Didn't he win it
That's
with them?
correct. After Arsenal, he went back to Villarreal, yeah.
And he's just a brilliant player. He may only be a cup manager, but to do what he's done there and to come into Aston Villa in this calendar year, one of Wenger's favourite phrases, Ollie Watkins is the most prolific player in the Premier League, goals and assists, more than anyone else. And Emery's done that to him.
Yeah.
because I remember Watkins. Was it at Bournemouth he was at before? And it was so promising, but he could never get the. He was much a little bit like Calvert-Lewin, another of those players that we kind of looked at and thought, oh, he's English, he's good, but can he ever do it? He's turned Watkins around. He's brought in players like Douglas Luiz, who's a monster, and he's got rid of the high earners like that bloke who was I always forget his name. Liverpool sold it to Barcelona and then bought all their players, the Brazilian.
Oh, Coutinho.
Yeah, and got rid of him, got rid of a whole load of other ones, turned that club around. And as much as we hate Martinez, he's a bloke you'd rather have on your side than against your side because he's an idiot, but he's a bloody good goalkeeper, as we found out. And he's got all these, and he's got them all working together. And he's almost, at times, I think he's got the George Graham, everybody hates us, and that makes a stronger element at Aston Villa because no one expects to be where they are.
I would never, ever begrudge a manager that goes into a club like Aston Villa and as he's doing what he's doing with them. I mean, he gets my respect, he gets my round of applause. Hopefully he can keep them up there. I would hate for him to kind of have a massive fall off the cliff after Christmas and they finish kind of 6th or 7th or something like that. What they're doing at the moment, should be celebrated. What they're doing, their fans must be ecstatic to see themselves in the top 4. I do believe that Villa have always been a kind of, I know it's a cliche to say, that sleeping giant. That sleeping giant club got a good ground.
Well, they tick all the boxes. They got the ground. They got the history.
Yeah,
they got the attendances because you can have a massive ground and have nobody turn up, but they have regular 30,000 odd going.
I mean, Aston Villa used to be my £20 bet every year to go down. I never won, but I'd always go in the bookies at the start of the season and put 20 quid on Villa to go down because they were all, over the last 10 years, they were down there and, getting sucked in and getting themselves out of it. But to see them up in the top half, in the top 4 is amazing.
And a little bonus for me, I know a lot of people don't like him, Stan Collymore. I love Stan Collymore. And the amount of grief that bloke gets. And he follows the podcast. I'd love to get him to come on. And you lot would have to behave yourselves or I'll ban you. Yeah. But Stan Collymore is over the moon because he's never been quiet about being a Villa fan his entire time. He loves Villa. And it's great to see Stan happy. We've all made mistakes in the past, as I'm sure he will admit. Yeah, we all make mistakes. We all do things that we shouldn't do. We all do things we regret, and we move on. And those infamous words of him doing his radio shows: "Run the bath, mother."
That's it.
Didn't have a bath at the time. I got a bath now, and he doesn't do much, which is a shame because he could run circles around most of those morons doing football talk on the radio at the moment.
Yeah,
some of them can barely string a sentence together. And Stan is eloquent, he's intelligent, he knows what he's on about, and he's interesting, and he's funny, and he's modest as well because he was a hell of a player.
Was a good player,
wonderful player.
Was a good player.
But had his issues, and it kind of ruined his career. But he's moved on, and he's doing well. People, we're going to go for another 3 or 4 minutes. Put your questions in the chat. So far, we've only got one, and that's from Phil Macker, and that's going to be rubbish. So please save us. Just chuck a few questions in there for me and Craig, or just Craig, or for Craig's dog, or for my Christmas tree. Doesn't matter, whichever one you want. We'll ask them. Melvin says ex-Villa manager that played for the Arsenal. Ex-Villa, what in that order? No, you mean played for Arsenal and then went on to Villa. David O'Leary, wasn't it? He was manager of Villa.
Yeah, he's manager. Yeah,
I think he was.
Good shout.
Yeah. Other than that, I know George Graham played for Villa, but he never managed them. I don't know. Maybe going back in the olden days because we know Melvin's getting on a little bit now. He's nearly 90, bless him. So his memory goes a lot further back than anything than ours does. Avon says, to be fair, Martinez and Malpe, I wouldn't want either of them to be left standing. They are both a pair of twats.
Oh, yes, they are. Yeah, 100%.
Rudy says, Emery's English wasn't good enough to bring across his ideas at Arsenal. I read that his English has improved massively. Could be okay. That was so cruel, the way they would take the piss out of the way that he spoke. Yet none of them could speak a word of Spanish, but he was doing his best to try and speak English at short notice. I mean, he won back-to-back leagues in France. Did he do back-to-back leagues? I think maybe one of the league seasons he was there, Monaco won the league, so possibly. But he still won stuff with them.
Again, on the Emery thing, he's not a bad coach. He's not a bad manager. He just came to Arsenal at the complete wrong time. It's just as simple as that.
James says he misses Collymore on the radio and TV. Yeah. Do you get sickened by it's the constant Gary Neville and Carragher? Just everything seems to be revolving around those two on Sky, and I hate the pair of them. They're just, and the whole banter they have is just horrible. I don't care. I don't want to hear it.
And then they're everywhere then. Now they've started their own podcast and this, that, and the other, which is pretty good, actually. I have to say they had Ronnie O'Sullivan on it. They had Ronnie O'Sullivan on it last week with Roy Keane, Ian Wright, Gary Neville, and Jamie Carragher. It was a very good podcast, actually. It's on YouTube. It was very good, all about Ronnie O'Sullivan. But yes, there is pundits out there that shouldn't be pundits, and there's people out there who aren't pundits who should be pundits. Look at my ex-colleague at the same old Arsenal podcast, Harry Symeou. He's doing
wonderful.
He is doing wonderful things, and he's going places. That lad should be on a mainstream television program, in my opinion. He's absolutely fantastic.
It won't, because there's the Arsenal agenda. Like Tom is fantastic as well.
Yeah, Tom Canton again. Yeah, again, the two are absolutely brilliant, and the work they do, the work they put in, the research they do, the way they speak, they're so clear, they're so articulate. It's people like that should be on our TV screens. I know Tom and Harry do have been doing some BBC stuff, and Harry's been on CNN a couple of times.
Harry does a few TalkSport 2 shows as well,
and he does TalkSport stuff. So yeah, people like that, they should be the ones. Yeah, people coming from this kind of thing, I think, are the best. Are some of the best pundits,
rather than being on telly for who they are or what box they tick.
Yeah,
which is,
just be there because you know what you're talking about would be a good start.
But then again, that's going down the road of Joey Barton, and no one really needs to get down that
road.
Well, no one needs to hear his opinions. He may have a little point, a tiny point here and there, but not really.
Look, it's the way he comes across.
Yeah.
That's the problem. It's the way you deliver. It's the way you deliver the opinion. There's YouTubers out there, there's podcasters out there that I can't listen to, even though sometimes, like you said, they might make the tiniest bit of sense, and you sit there and you go, oh, God, I actually agree. But it's the way it's delivered is the problem, do you know?
Well, there's I call them the 50p merchants. It's 50p to text in and tell them how angry you are with what they're saying. O'Hara, Agbong Lahore, all load, and they're all diabolical. But you keep throwing 50p at these morons, and they'll stay in that job.
But this is exactly why they've still got a job.
Yeah, and
that is exactly why they've still got a job.
When people like Stan Collymore and Danny Baker and people like that aren't doing the main call-in shows, and
no one wants to sit and listen to a podcast for an hour and listen to fellas talking sense.
No, they don't. Right, let's do a few questions. We have got the one from Phil Macker, which is going to be a disaster. Are we sleepwalking into buying Raya? I don't see him as an upgrade. He doesn't always have a lot to do. We will need the money. We will need to see Rami.
Are we sleepwalking into buying David Raya? Yes, I think Arteta has his mind made up about him already.
27 million, isn't it?
And the reason I think that he's made his mind up already is the amount of games he's playing, and the way that he didn't drop him after Luton. There's a big question mark over Arteta there for me about the Luton game. People are saying that Arteta has said that he will substitute a goalkeeper mid-game. He will substitute a goalkeeper who make mistakes. Now, for me, if I was David Raya's goalkeeping coach, I would be saying to the manager, after the Luton game, I'd be saying to the manager, I think it might be time to give Aaron another go.
And hopefully Aaron will show just how good he is. Really nice bit here from Jimmy. It says, you learn more from listening to podcasts now than listening to the Dross on Sky Sports now and TalkSport. True, you do. I mean, you go listen to AC Jimbo on the Totally Football Show. Magnificent. That's where I get half my content from.
Yeah.
Thankfully, none of them listen. Drago says, was the Arsenal fan base toxic before the era of social media? This isn't me calling you old. Did you do the fan forums before there was Twitter and Facebook? Were you?
I used to actually go on. Do you remember when Arsenal had its own channel? Not Arsenal Fan TV.
Yeah.
But there was a channel on terrestrial television, Arsenal TV.
On Sky, yes.
Yeah, and the fella who used to play Lofty in EastEnders was the host.
Tom Watt.
Tom Watt.
Wrote the book, The End.
Yeah. And I actually, when I was a lot younger, I used to ring in and talk to him a lot on that show.
Got a little bit saucy with people ringing in when they shouldn't been on air, didn't it, at times?
Oh.
Yeah. It was good.
Yeah. I can remember having a good conversation with him after we signed Arshavin. I rung in and we had a good conversation. But was it toxic before social media? Only if you were arguing with your mates. I had plenty of arguments in the pub about football with me mates about I was right or he was wrong or I'm right and I'm always, So I think people miss the point that it's always happened. People arguing over football and people arguing over players and people arguing over managers and whether he should have played this fella or that fella. Except that before social media, it happened in the pub, before the game and after the game. But now we've got platforms such as Twitter and Facebook and Instagram and YouTube where you can do it in public.
Or you'd be in the crowd at Highbury, and then you'd go, "This George Graham, I think he's a bit shit," and someone give you a slap round the head and say, "Shut up, you soppy twat."
Shut up, yeah. Do you know? It's always been happened, but just in different stages and in different times,
Yeah. Just making sure. 5:30. Okay. Rudy says predictions for the Liverpool game. It's 5:30 on this coming Saturday. I don't even know if I'm going to be home for that. Hopefully I will be. But what do you think? It's at Liverpool. It's not going to be easy, is it?
It's not going to be easy, but I watch them against Manchester United. If they play the way they did against Manchester United against us, we'll beat them. Yeah. They left so much space in their half spaces on the pitch. If Martinelli and Saka bring their A game, we will win the game. No doubt about it in my mind. No doubt about it in my mind. Manchester United missed such a trick down the wing. They left so much space, Liverpool, down the wings. If Martinelli and Saka have a good game, we'll win. And I think we've got enough ability and enough quality to get a result up there. I really, really do. Last year, 2-0 up, cruising. Granit Xhaka changed the game in Liverpool's favour by going in. Just, what do you think? He went in on a player, didn't he, just before half time? Raised the Anfield crowd. You do not give them a chance to get behind them. Manchester United done a really, really good job on keeping them quiet. I know people say that it's a myth, the Liverpool atmosphere, this, that, and the other, but Granit Xhaka really raised them up that day, and they got behind the team, and they come back and won. They come back to get a draw. Probably should have won it if it weren't for a world-class save from Ramsdale at the end. But keep the crowd quiet, and you'll keep Liverpool quiet. I believe we can beat them. I really do. I'm not going to give a prediction, but I believe we can come away with 3 points.
Yeah, I think we've got the capability. You just need to be clinical with our finishing and keep calm heads and keep hold of the ball. And then just take our chances when we get them. Avon says, how do you think the PGMOL will fix the game at Anfield? Well,
that is we'll have to wait and see.
It could be.
The refereeing in this country has got to change. Someone's got to do something about it because it's still happening. It's still happening every week. Look at yesterday. That Dallo sending off was pathetic.
Yeah,
absolutely pathetic.
But didn't even book someone who did an elbow.
Yeah, and it just screams of right. How can I make this about me?
Yeah, too many of them.
Yeah, I know what I'll do. I'll double book a player for double descent in 10 within 5 seconds of each other. Bit like what he done to Martinelli when he sent Martinelli off. He booked him twice.
Was that the same ref?
Same ref.
Fucking prick.
Yep, same ref. Booked him for a foul. Waved play on. Sorry, he fouled a player, didn't he? Waved play on. Then he ran up the other end of the pitch and fouled another player. So he gave him a booking for the original one and a booking for that one and sent him off.
Yeah, ridiculous.
All about me.
There are a few more questions in there, but we've done just over the hour. I've got stuff to do. The offspring is here, and we've got new decorations to stick up because the last ones from last year have all fallen on the floor and the cats have attacked them. Right, Craig, you've been magnificent. It's lovely to have you back. If people want to follow you on Twitter, because I didn't know you'd left Twitter, let alone come back on. It used to be Scotty Boy Gooners, didn't it?
I didn't actually leave. Unfortunately, I got suspended.
Been naughty again.
Well, yes. Well, I stuck up for a disabled girl.
Oh, yeah.
And told the fella that if I ever met him, I'd smash his face in.
Was that
Sophie? Apparently, that goes against Twitter's guidelines. And I was suspended indefinitely.
Because they're assholes. Give Elon a call. We'll sort you right out.
I've tried.
Yeah.
I've tried. I've tried every which way but loose to get the account back, but no. But then I kept trying to make other accounts then, you see.
Yeah.
And every time I made a new one, it would shut it down straight away.
So what you do, I've got 6 accounts.
Have you?
Make them before you start doing stuff wrong.
Exactly. But it was a couple of months ago, I said, I'll try again. And I'm still here. So my new handle is @the Cork Cockney. The
Cork Cockney. There you go, because he was born in London and he now lives in Cork.
That's it.
He's not a Cockney who sells bits of cork.
No,
I was wondering.
No,
don't tap him up and say, I need 600 cork plugs. What sort of deal can you do?
Yeah, it's because pretty much that season ticket holder at Cork City. So the real football's back in February. Got relegated this year though, so that's the only thing.
Again, they got relegated twice now, isn't it, in recent years?
Yeah, not good. But we keep going.
Certainly do. Would you like to end the show the way you used to end your shows in your famous way? And then once you've done that, I will click the outro.
Absolutely, no problem. Thank you to everyone who's watched this evening, especially to all those of you in the chat. Until we see you again, take care of yourselves and each other, and up the Arsenal.
As soon as I scored that goal, I was fucking livid. Get down, dog. Splendid business.
You nearly caught the bloody thing. What are you talking about?
So I was just eating a full quiche. Well, you don't often see them at Ibs, so when you see them in the supermarket, they need to be swagged, microwaved immediately, and get the brown sauce on and bosh, Bob's your uncle.
Never in doubt.